Hello Masters, over 50s running. Today I'm going to go through 5 key points where I believe a lot of us get wrong or don't really put too much time into thinking about these 5 points, and they are recovery, nutrition, strength, offsetting for age, and finally, which might upset a few of you, is acting your age. So let's go to recovery. We all hear about how important recovery is for all age groups really, but as we age, as we get over 50, even in your 40s, you start to deteriorate in many areas, in physique and so on. Recovery is key. It really is. It's probably one of my, if I've got 2 top things to work the most on, it's recovery. And that's just not in recovery of running, it's also recovery on food intake, that aids recovery. It's sleep recovery, because sleep is also part of our recovery system. And as we age, we really need to really look into it a lot more. And a lot of recovery is also about reading your body, reading on how you're responding to training. And if you're over fatiguing, you need to be looking at your program, looking at your weekly run sessions. Do I need more time between my hard sessions? Is a 1 week program or 1 week roster not enough for me? And what I mean by that is, if you want to have in your rotation or your rotational program 2 or 3 key hard sessions a week, which would most likely include interval, threshold or tempo, and your long run, then just increase your rotation days to 10 days. So you do a 10-day week. Hence you can factor in a few more days between the harder sessions. Or if you're doing 3 hard sessions a week, excluding your long run, which I know a few masters do that. I've tried that in the past and it works. However, it bounces back pretty quick and puts you, either injured or over fatigue accumulation, and we just don't respond the same or recover. So it's better to find days. Oh, little doggy there. We're better off to avoid these fatigue or injuries, rather than to try and cure them. So recovery, factor recovery a lot more. Even think about when you was younger, doing your Tuesday hard session with the club, then a Thursday hard session, then maybe a race or another strong session Saturday, and a long run Sunday. I know club nights are great, and it's great, great to meet up with people and run in a group, but if you're going hard Tuesdays, maybe don't go hard Thursdays no more. Just find other masters runners and go easier on a Thursday, and move that tempo or second hard session of the week to a Friday. However, don't go and do a race Saturday, and then you've got another day recovery from the Friday session before your long run on the Sunday. So just think about recovery a lot more, and also your sleep. I mentioned sleep earlier. Sleep is important. I know a lot of us at this age, we struggle a lot with going to the loo at night time, but you can try different things. Sorry. You can try different things. don't drink after, say, 6 p.m. Or 8 p.m. Or maybe you're fine with that. Maybe it's alcohol or that nightcap glass of wine that's making you wake up. Just try different things and you may find out what works for you. I find often that if I get a good night's sleep, well, not often, always, if I get a good night's sleep, my whole training program, my whole feeling, everything works, it all comes together. And even if you can't get that solid 8-9 hours sleep on a daily basis, try and go for the 1 hour power nap midday or mid-afternoon. But the thing with power naps, they're very good as long as they don't affect your nighttime sleep. So recovery is important. It includes a lot of things. It includes how you program your weekly training, what rest days you give yourself, your sleep patterns, your food, your nutrition, and also external activities that are not running orientated. You don't actually need to be running and lying down the rest of the day. I find if I've got an active day where I'm training well, but I've got maybe a dog walk that day, I'm up to the city, I'm on my feet all day, I find those days I actually have less aches and pains the following day when I've been actually moving and, you know, keeping those joints moving and flowing. So recovery, look at it more. Spend a bit more time in how you can maximize your personal recovery program. I've just lost you there a little bit. There you go. Next one, nutrition. Oh, this is a big one. I really do think so. I've always been pretty good with my food, and kind of, you've all probably heard adaptation training or adaptive training, which I do quite a lot of, but also I do a lot of adaptive eating. So I'll eat to the training what I'm doing. But recently, well, about a year ago or so, I discovered periodic fasting, which isn't that extreme really. It's only basically, I started off doing 12 hours a day not eating, which is basically from your last meal in the evening to your first meal in the morning. So if you eat in the evening at 8 p.m, I wouldn't eat until 8 or 9 a.m. next morning. And apparently science says, or research says, our gut biome or our gut system needs 12 hours at least every day to do a proper detox stroke cleanup. So it just makes sense to me that every day we have that 12 hours. But I got into it a bit more where I now push it out to 16, 18 hours. And the difference is also, it is phenomenal. It's a huge difference. It's very hard to explain unless you're doing it, how much of a difference it makes. And bearing in mind, I didn't start this program to improve my running. I started this just to be a healthy aging person at 58, to improve my, not life longevity, but to improve my life health longevity, if you know what I mean. And it's made a huge difference, unexpectedly, but it's made a huge difference on my running last year or this year. At 58 years old, I was getting PBs that I set when I was 50. I was breaking them PBs, and that I put down to being leaner. But I wasn't leaner because I was forcing a diet and I was starving myself. I was leaner because I cut out a lot of junk that before I started to research this program, it was quite shocking to find out how many foods we think that are healthy for us that are absolutely junk. For example, normal bread with all the bits of nuts and seeds and raisins and all the added fibre and vitamin C, that's just pure sugar. Even fruit to an extent. I've cut out fruit by about 90%. Morning. Oh, big wolf there. So, yeah, so even fruit's not so great. And just so, it might upset a few of you, but bread, a normal bread sandwich or a fruit smoothie, your gut sees no, it cannot differentiate between that in your gut than a bag of Haribo sweets. So, but I love bread. So I went more into sourdough and rye bread. But if you look it up, just look up on YouTube, Gut Biome. There's some great podcasts out there, and it really does work. But nutrition, work on your nutrition, and it will benefit you in more ways than just running performance. I also put that down to my improved sleep patterns, changing my diet, absolutely. But please, I mentioned it earlier, my diet wasn't bad before I started this, but the changes that I've experienced are huge. So that's nutrition. Number 3, the third point that I believe we don't address enough as masters, and that's strength. I'm guilty of sin. I've been doing strength, but I've been doing plyometric strength for my last 8 years of running, since I turned 50. And it's kind of worked. However, I'm finding, kind of since last year, that I feel that it's now time to go into the gym and start to do heavy load work. I don't physically see muscle mass deterioration just yet, but I definitely feel it. And what got me thinking there was, what got me thinking about my strength deficit and the need to begin strength training in the gym again is I'm still PBing at 58, getting 16:20 5k times, and youngsters around me, let's say in the pack, 10 seconds ahead of me or 10 seconds behind me, in the cross-country race, where there's far more resistance, i.e. with the hills, with the mud, they're smashing me by 2.5 minutes. And that's going to be down to one thing: strength. And not you will be in the same boat as well. You may have the pedigree from when you was younger, the higher than normal VO2 max, which at our age now pointless. However, it does count when you was younger, and it can follow through slightly to your age. Also, great muscle memory, great lactate tolerances and lactate clearances. If you had a very good lactate system, as in lactate system to deal with running and high intensity training and recovery when you was younger, if you're doing the right training, you should have that in your older age as well. However, that carries you through on a flat tarmac 5k or 10k road. But when you need real strength and the ground's absorbing 50% of your foot plant when you go 2 or 3 inches into the water and the mud, that is down to just pure strength. So from today, actually, I made a decision to get back in the gym and pump them heavy weights. And I'm just going to the old school gym session, which I find far better even today than these modern hip stuff or hip, whatever it's called, and all this modern way of training, with ropes and stuff like that. Just keep it simple. It worked for the best 30 years ago, it works for us now. And that is basically choose 4 to 5 exercises in each of the 3 categories. Upper body, as in merely arms and upper torso. Core, midsection, abs, planks and so on, and legs. If you've chose 15 or 5 of each, then that means you've got 15 exercises. Then so those 15 exercises is 1 set. And I will start this week on 2 sets and build up to 3 sets. And I will do my exercises in each set the following way. I will do upper body, core, legs. Upper body, core, legs. In that order throughout the whole session. So I'm maximising recovery from each muscle group, and I'm going through the full range from neck down to my ankles. And these sessions will help you. However, you do need to be doing the heavy weights. Get some good loading done, especially on squats or horizontal squats, and make sure that your quad curls and your hamstring curls are done correctly. Because I can guarantee, here's a small test to do, and I can guarantee not many of you will achieve this ratio. The old quad curl in the gym where you sit down and you curl your quads, and the whole hamstring curl, which is the opposite, where you put your knee down and you curl the weight up to your bum cheeks, for example, or your hamstring curl should be 2/3 of the weight you're lifting for your quad curl. So to keep it nice and simple, if you can lift or quad curl 90 kg 5 times. Oops, I've got another dog. Let me just run past. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. If you can quad 4 to 5 times 90 kg, and that's tough and that's hard, then you should be able to do the same at 60 kg. But I can guarantee virtually none of you will have that ratio of 2/3 to 1. You won't. So that means you've got to work on that hamstring curl to bring it up to the 60 kg if you're doing 90 kg for your quad. And that is key for us olders. But that's just an example. There's lots more we can go through, and I'll probably do a separate strength podcast later on. Number 4 is offsetting for age. And it's basically what it says. If you're 50, if you're 60, you need to offset a lot more things. If you're following a program for a marathon or a half marathon or a 5k that you've downloaded from a well-known magazine or whatever it may be, bear in mind, all these programs are just elite programs that people have just watered down and stuck on a program to sell a magazine. But you, at the ages you're at, you have to be really offsetting. And I mean offsetting on recovery, like I just mentioned, offsetting on the pace you train at, offsetting, for example, your tempo run. Let's say 5k tempo at 30 to 35 seconds off your 5k race pace. That still applies, but where 20 years ago that k pace might have been 3:10 per k split, you're now racing at 3:30 per k split, so you've got to offset your 30 to 35 seconds on top of that. But you've got to double offset as well for hills. So if you've got 2 of the Ks in the 5k tempo run with a long hill in that K, don't try and run those 2 Ks at the same pace. When you was younger, you'd have most likely ran those 2k reps at around 10 seconds slower in the same heart rate zone. But now you're going to be 25, 35, even more slower in those 2k reps. It doesn't matter how slow. It doesn't matter how slow those 2k reps are, as long as you keep in the heart rate zone, which for a tempo run, just while we're on that topic, on the tempo run, we're talking between 80 and 90% of your max heart rate. So offsetting, there's many other ways we can offset as well. Offset your recovery time on track sessions. Offset your, so if you're on your club night and they're doing 8 times a K with say 3 minutes recovery, there's no shame or there's nothing wrong in you doing 3 K reps, then missing one, then doing 3 more, and then if you feel good, do the 8th one. So that means you do 7 overall or 6 overall. There is no shame in doing less than those youngsters, you know, and only you can tell this, only you. So offsetting, we can go in all day, there's so much of that, but just be aware of offsetting. And you know, my 5th one, and this is going to upset a lot of you, I think. My 5th one is act your age. I'm laughing because so a lot of people out there, I see it in Facebook pages, I see it all the time, and I've done that as well. But and this is it, my big bugbearer is age is but a number, or age is just a number. Yes, it is, but don't be silly. You know, if you're 50, 55, 60 or 65, you know, that age is just a number. It still brings with it all the aches and pains, the extra injury potential, the muscle depletion or the strength depletion. You know, it brings all that with it. So don't kid yourself. You are 55, you are 60, you are 65. So try and work and try and adapt yourself and respect that age. And one thing that I often try and say is to people is, yes, if you want to be in denial of your age, that is fine. We've all done that. We all still do it. However, make sure you equally show empathy to your body, because that's key here. Yep. I kind of assume most of you want to be running into your 60s and 70s, and you can do that. You can do that very healthily, but act your age. Really act your age, because when we start to train like the youngsters, which I've done, and it does actually work, but only for a short period, and then you end up being 6 months, 12 months injured or off. And the benefits that I found that I achieved from pushing hard with the youngsters were fractional. And here's a good tip. I found with myself and a lot of the guys I train and girls I train at age, increase your time on feet, as in your mileage, but go on time. Increase it throughout the week, but keep it slow and keep it within about 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. And a quick thing here is, when I was younger, I would have never done this, but I often go out for runs where I'm running between 102 and 112 beats per minute, and that benefits me just as much as running 20, 30 beats per minute higher. You still get the benefit. Look it up. The research is out there. Anyway, I'm a close now. I hope this has been a good bit of advice for you. And even a lot of these points, even for myself, you know, I still make mistakes. A lot of elite runners, as in world elite runners that I know and train with, they make the mistakes as well. But the secret is to try and learn and adapt on these mistakes and try to adapt them to our age. And if you can do that, then I'm pretty sure you can all PB for age in the near future. So it's me saying goodbye on a pretty cold and frosty morning, and I'll be back next week on probably my tempo and my progression run talk. See you later. Bye bye.